guys, today we are going to be talking about how I have been dealing with low levels of anxiety. So I've been walking this journey for a while, and hopefully this can help you too. So the first thing I want to say is that for a long time, I think I've been dealing with low levels of anxiety and I didn't realize it because I'm a really optimistic person. And I kind of tend to be sort of dismissive towards my feelings. So one thing that I've noticed my anxiety comes up is when I am in transitions. You know, children, when they're in transitions, those are like the hardest things because it's when you feel, and when a child feels unstable and unsafe. And it's the same for us, at least for me as an adult, when I'm in a bunch of transitions. And so lately, I mean, really for me, the last 2 years, but especially this last year, has been a whole lot of transitions. I've started a third business, and I'm learning just this whole new business avenue where I help people design the business of their dreams around a message that they alone have to offer. And I'm super passionate about it, but it's been a huge learning curve, as well as I started a second preschool in our house. We had a fourth baby. We were pastoring for our church for a while, and just a lot of transition. So I want to encourage you to start taking note if you are in seasons of transition that maybe you are feeling anxious and you don't even realize it, because that's kind of like where I was at. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the ways that I have been dealing with my low-level anxiety, and then I would love for you to just put in the comments below what helped you the most with this video. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is to identify the anxiety. The second thing is attempt to release the need to control. The third thing is reframing mantras to fall back onto. The fourth thing, managing my emotions. The fifth thing, talking to someone about it, but not everyone about it. The sixth thing is prayer / meditation, and the seventh thing is self-care. Okay, so 7 things, that sounds like a lot, but I'm gonna just hop through it. This is gonna be real short and sweet and hopefully super helpful. So the first thing is to identify the anxiety. You know, I know that I was raised to, one, like not be in touch with my feelings, and two, to be very dismissive of feelings, and to just I kind of have had a MO for a long time that your feelings lie to you, you shouldn't make decisions based on your feelings, yada yada. But here's the thing that this revelation I had a few years ago is that you know, if God wanted us to be emotionless beings, he could have created us as emotionless beings, but he didn't. He created us with emotions and feelings, and therefore they must have a purpose, because God doesn't make any mistakes. So I have been working to try to identify emotions and identify feelings, and not just, one, completely ignore them, and two, dismiss them when I do identify them. So as far as identifying anxiety, this is for me, the ways that I notice, oh, I'm starting to feel a little anxious, is my heart will start racing. I will often feel a feeling in the pit of my stomach that I did something that I shouldn't have done, or I didn't do something that I should have done, and as a result, everything's gonna like fail. Or I will become obsessed with a certain thought or concern, and that obsession will just preoccupy my mind at all times. So sometimes it'll like interfere with me falling asleep quickly, or it'll interfere with me being present with my children or friends or family, just enjoying the present moment, because I keep obsessing and try to problem solve this anxious thought. Okay, so that's how those are like things, triggers that I've learned how to identify when I'm feeling anxiety. The second thing that has helped me is to attempt to release the need to control things. Attempt to release the need to control things. Okay, so a lot of my anxiety, for me personally, comes around the need to want to either control the outcome or control the timeline of the outcome. There's a saying some of you might have heard: pray like it depends on God, but then work like it depends on you. And I'm a super hard worker, and I bet you listening on the other end of this are probably a super hard worker too. And so I am not afraid to work my tail off, but I want to control. I want some success from all of that hard work. And sometimes I find a lot of my anxiety is surrounded around my inability to control the outcome or control the timeline of the outcome. So ultimately, as a Christian, I believe that God is in control of everything, and I have trust in the sovereign goodness of our Creator. But however you are going to do that, if you can, step number 2, release the need to control things, I think that really helps with the anxiety. Okay, the third thing is having reframing mantras to fall back onto. Okay, so as soon as I start feeling anxious, I will say, preferably out loud, some of these mantras. My current favorite is, I have more than enough time to do everything that I need to do. Some of my other favorites are, I laugh at the days to come, and that comes from Proverbs 31:25. She's clothed in strength and dignity and laughs without fear in the future. So when I start feeling stressed out, I'll often fall back. Those are my 2 main ones right now. I laugh at the days to come. Sometimes I'll even laugh out loud. I'm just laughing at the days to come. Okay, I work by myself from my bedroom, but okay. I release the timeline. When I start getting stressed out, I release the timeline. I release the outcome. No big deal. I'll usually say that with a deep breath. No big deal. And Rome wasn't built in a day. The things that I am called to do, the things that you are called to do, they take time. Greatness takes time. It's a process. It's a journey to embrace. And I have to remind myself that it doesn't matter how hard or how fast I work, Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, so the first thing is to identify the anxiety. The second thing is to release the need to control. The third thing is having reframing mantras. The fourth thing is to manage my emotions and try not to blow them out of proportion. So I've started reading through this book. This is really great, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and it's been really helpful in helping me grow, even though I scored pretty good. They have a quiz. I'm not that bad in my emotional intelligence, but there's always room to grow. And I feel kind of desperate in this season to grow as much as I can in that area. So to manage my emotions, I will often take a deep breath, say no big deal, and I will try to talk myself off a ledge before I start essentially throwing an adult temper tantrum. So sometimes when I'm not doing well, when I'm stressed out, I will throw an adult temper tantrum in the form of throwing my phone in my bedroom onto my bed, or crying, or yelling at my children, or cussing in my head, which I don't cuss. And I just lose control, and I waste all this energy on going on these emotional extremes. And so what I'm trying to do is manage my emotions and just keep a real even keel when, if I mess up, or someone in my family messes up, or someone on my team messes up, just say no big deal. Okay, that email didn't go out. What are we going to do now? And just move forward and not devolve into all this wasted emotions and energy, which I don't have to spare. The next thing I would encourage you to do is to talk to someone, but not everyone, about it. So if you are married or in a serious relationship, I would encourage you to be intentional about building your emotional intimacy by taking these feelings of anxiety to your partner. Okay, just like it takes intentionality and work and practice to build sexual intimacy in a relationship, it takes the same intentionality and work and practice and vulnerability to build emotional intimacy in a relationship. And that is really what is sacred about a marriage, is having that emotional intimacy. There have been times in our relationship where I will be pouring my heart out to a very close girlfriend, or maybe to my pastor on the phone, and my husband will have walked through the room, and then later that day he'll be like, I had no idea, Joy, that you were feeling this way. And I really have been withholding those emotions from my husband. And that's just like, that's not optimal. You know, if you have like the most outrageous, awesome marriage, then you want to share those emotions, share the emotional like struggle that you're having, the anxiety with your partner. Okay? Now, this can be a little bit tricky. I want to encourage you, if you have a partner, to do that, but also, you know, don't put an expectation, and maybe clarify with your partner that you don't expect them to solve whatever problem you're necessarily having around anxiety, especially if it's surrounded around work and your partner isn't part of like he's not in that industry. For example, my husband is super supportive and he's incredibly awesome. His background is electrical engineering. So recently I felt like the Lord spoke to me, don't expect something from someone that they don't have to offer. Don't ask something from someone that they don't have to offer. Meaning, like, don't go to the grocery store and go to the butcher counter and ask if you can get some milk, because that would just be weird, right? So when you're asking advice, go to people that actually like have advice to offer. But I want to encourage you to take your anxiety or whatever intense emotions you're feeling to your partner and share that with them so they can be a part of your emotional life, okay? And then the other person that I would talk to your anxiety about would be like your business coach, or if you're part of a mastermind or a community, something like that. You know, for the first time this last year, I've hired a business coach, and I've also joined a mastermind specific to my niche, and I cannot even tell you what a game changer that has been. So I can't tell you how much stress and anxiety has been relieved when I've been able to go to my coach or go to my mastermind community and just share the anxiety that I'm feeling from them and get advice from them and encouragement. And it's just super fantastic. Lastly, the third person you could share your anxiety with would of course be a counselor or a therapist. That would be fantastic as well. The next thing that has been super helpful for me in managing my low-level anxiety is prayer and meditation. So I'm a Christian. I've been praying since second grade, but true confessions, it's really hard for me to pray. And it's just really hard for me to like sit still and be quiet, you know, but I do it because it's a spiritual discipline and the Bible says it's important. And I personally have experienced the many fruits of that spiritual discipline. Okay, so, but recently over the last few months, two of my friends recommended this app called Headspace, this is not a plug for Headspace, but Headspace is a meditation app, and I've been doing it not even that much, but it has been so helpful in helping me understand the benefits of meditating, but it has also just like 10x my prayer life. It's made it so much easier for me to pray to God, and it's just been awesome. So either which way, whether you believe in prayer or meditating or none of the above, I want to encourage you to try one of those. And if you haven't ever tried meditating, then just like try it. Just download the Headspace app. You can get a free version and try it. I think it's super beneficial. And just, you know, for me personally, the meditating and then practicing the presence of God has been huge in allaying the anxiety that I'm having. Okay, and then the last thing is self-care. So this is kind of obvious, so I put it as last, but you know, like I cannot tell you the value and the importance, and I'm probably preaching to the choir here, of sleep, exercise, nutrition, healthy relationships, on how all of those self-care items affect the level of anxiety that you're feeling. So for example, I am just getting over bronchitis. I've been sick for the last 2 weeks with bronchitis. It was really, really, really bad. And then I was on vacation for 10 days before that. So I have not been able to work out for about 2 weeks now. And I have noticed that I'm having these sort of like anxious, irrational thoughts, and I have to go back and remind myself I have not worked out for 2 weeks. I haven't had those endorphins. I haven't been eating as healthily as I would have liked to. I mean, I haven't, whatever. Anyway, so just being focused, if you're starting to feel that anxiety, like going back to square one, looking at your basic self-care routines and giving yourself grace, like just reminding yourself if you're out of those self-care routines for whatever reason, like just remind yourself, I'm having these anxious, irrational thoughts because I haven't worked out for 2 weeks and my poor little brain is like, desperate for the endorphins. Okay, so just as a recap, the things I've been doing to help with my low-level anxiety are to identify the anxiety, attempt to release the need for control, have reframing mantras to fall back on, manage my emotions and not blow things out of proportion, talk to somebody but not everybody about it, practice praying or meditation, and dial in on your self-care routine. So I hope that helps. There's no shame in the game of having anxiety, guys. That like the more I talk to girlfriends, the more and more of my girlfriends are dealing with this. Either it's identified or it's not identified. So I just want to encourage you, like, I'm dealing with it, you're probably dealing with it, and we can all grow in this area. And I hope this helps. Put in the comments below what was the most helpful tip for you, and have a great day.